Hello, I'm going to be talking with you if you listen, if you allow me to get through to you about the focus that can begin to occur when you listen to yourself while you speak. You see, in your usual way of talking, you do not listen to yourself. And I talk about embodied language, which is a way of talking in which you listen to yourself. And maybe you have ever looked through binoculars, yeah? You can bring something that is in the distance, you can bring it closer by looking through the binoculars. And if you use such a tool to view distant things more clearly, you have to adjust it a little bit, right? To adjust it so that you can zoom in, or that you can bring everything into focus, because it depends on how it is adjusted, whether you see what is very far away clearly or not. And so a similar thing occurs, of course, with a microscope. Yeah, in a microscope, you look into this microscope, and there's mosquitoes here. I gotta get going. I don't know. But no, so the microscope is another instrument that we use to make visible things that we cannot see with the naked eye. So, but they are so small, and so we magnify it with the microscope, and then we can see it. And the same principle occurs to be able to see what you are trying to see. Let's say, for instance, you are looking at cells or something like that, right? I do not know exactly how that works or so, because I've never done it, but I've read a little bit about it. And you need to adjust the microscope so that you can see, these cells and microbes or whatever. And so the adjustment of that instrument is absolutely necessary. And without that adjustment, still the binoculars or the microscope, the telescope, it still doesn't work, because you need to adjust it. And so, and adjusting it requires, of course, also a certain amount of knowledge or skill. Yeah, you need to know how to use that measurement instrument, or you need to know how to use that binoculars. Yeah. You need to know how to use the telescope, or the the microscope. Yeah, but so bringing into focus whatever it is that you're looking at, and of course we're talking about visual things which we're trying to see. But when I'm talking about embodied language, I'm talking about not what we can see, because your words, unless you write them, you can see them, and you can focus on the words in front of you by looking at them. But that's not what I'm talking about. When I talk about embodied language, I'm talking about what you can hear. And yes, you hear what you say if you adjust to what you say. And if you speak with yourself, which we don't do in disembodied language, because in disembodied language we don't listen to ourselves. Yeah. So we don't speak with ourselves in the way that we can hear ourselves. But in embodied language we speak with ourselves in such a way that we are totally adjusted to what we want to hear, to what we like to hear, to who we are. Yeah, because we like to hear who we are. We like to be free. We like to be ourselves. We like to be, understanding also of who we are. So all of that has to do with our ability to adjust to what we say. Yeah. And so now I'm going to give you some more information because this is really getting interesting here. So adjusting to what you say involves a process that is unknown to people with disembodied language. I know about that process because I know that adjusting to what you're saying is not only a matter of experiencing how it sounds. Of course, it is a part of it that you, when you are yourself, when you say what you really want to say, when you feel you're true to yourself, which in disembodied language cannot be the case. But once you begin to have embodied language, you feel a tremendous relief, and you experience in your body an experience that is just really great, because all of a sudden you're full of energy, and you feel at ease, you feel free, the tension leaves you, and that is just wonderful. So what that means is that there is no language inside of you. Yeah. So adjusting to your language means that you abandon the whole illusion of inner language. Yeah. And then the adjusting of the microscope or the adjusting of your binoculars, that involved that process where you are, you're turning that little button. Yeah. Well, there's no button on your voice, there's no button on your language, but what you do is you speak. And you speak with the knowledge that all language is overt. And it's just like when you look into the microscope or when you look into the binoculars, you cannot see what is there to be seen if you do not look into that little hole like that, you gotta look through the binoculars, you gotta look through the microscope to see what is there to see with the microscope or with the binoculars. And in the same way, you gotta be busy with your language, with your overt language, that is, not with any imaginary inner language, because that doesn't exist, it is fantasy. Yeah? So even if you talk about your mind, you have to keep telling yourself, no, I'm talking about my mind, but it's just overt language and it couldn't be anything else. Yeah? It always was that overt language, but somehow we have been used to fantasizing about that inner language for so long that we have assumed that there's language inside of us, but there is no language inside of us. And so the adjustment of your, you could say, your instrument, which is your language, the adjustment to your language implies the abandonment of the illusion of inner language. Yeah? And then what you say becomes also another adjustment, because there is the adjustment of how you say things, which of course have to do with the fact that you hear your sound and that it sounds good and that you like to hear it, and all of that is wonderful. But once you begin to adhere to the overt nature of language, it doesn't matter whether it sounds good or not good. Yeah? What matters is that you adhere to the overt nature of language. And so what you see in the microscope is not in any way a concern, What you see with your binoculars is not a concern. No, it is how you see which is the concern. And so, again, with your language, what you perceive, yeah, because we're now talking about perception, yeah, with your overt language, you are able to perceive, obviously, what is right and what is wrong. And the right and wrong is not in any way, you can, right is right and wrong is wrong, good is good and evil is evil, and you do not, it is just what it is, and you are not interfering with what you perceive. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. In the same way that when you look through a binoculars or when you are looking through your microscope, you are not interfering with what you perceive. And in the same way with your language, you're not interfering with what you're able to say when you listen to yourself and when you perceive your language as an overt phenomenon. Yeah. So now you can say many more things than before, because it's not a matter of talking nice or anything like that, you know. It's not a matter of, pleasing someone else's ears so that you, adjusted yourself, or that you have adjusted someone else, that you have adjusted yourself to the other person, or that the other person has adjusted him or herself to you. No, it has nothing to do with that. Embodied language is the fact that we have adjusted our language to ourselves. So all this adjusting to other people, it always deals with other people. And it always happens at the expense of being adjusted to ourselves. So this is why disembodied language is a group behavior, and embodied language is an individual behavior. Yeah? So, stated differently, the scientist who looks through the microscope and observes, whatever it is that they are investigating, or the other scientists who use other measurements instruments. Yeah, let's say, for instance, somebody measures skin response. Yeah, somebody measures heart rate. Somebody measures brain activity. Yeah, different parts of the brain appear to be active. Certain parts of the brain are active, and when we are engaging, I'm just saying, let's say I'm riding my bicycle. Well, you bet the area of the brain where motor movement is, we say process. No, there's an area of our brain which obviously is involved when we are riding a bicycle. And if there is something wrong with the parietal lobe, or what is it, that part of the brain which deals with that, if there's brain damage, then we cannot pedal that bicycle anymore. Yeah, so it is very important for such a scientist to not interfere with what the scientist is noticing. Yeah, I mean, the scientist is not imagining that there is brain activity when there isn't. Yeah, and when you are measuring a temperature, you're not imagining that you're measuring a temperature. No, you're really measuring a temperature, and you use a thermometer to measure that temperature. So there's no interference. Yeah. Now, in the same way, language can be fully adjusted to us as an individual when we listen to ourselves while we speak. And then language is our measurement tool. Language is our way of describing our experience. Language is our way of understanding the world. And if our language is used correctly, which means if we describe our individually lived experience with our language, with our embodied language, then everything is fine. Then we experience this sense of well-being, which of course is our language enlightenment. But it's not only a sense of well-being. If it was just that, it wouldn't be language. Yeah, no. the well-being, like let's say, for instance, what is there within our body? Everybody believes there's language within our body. No, there's no language within our body. There's nothing within our body except a sense of a feeling of threat, a feeling of anxiety, a feeling of fear, a feeling of arousal, that too, a feeling of energy, or a collapse of energy. You're depleted, you are depressed, you are having no energy, you are stuck, you feel stiff, you feel dead, or you feel there's just no, you feel tired, you feel there's no energy. So inside the body there's no language, but there is this physiological experience of how your body is awake or asleep. Your body is drowsy. When you have ever been drunk, you kind of know that when you drink, you feel inebriated because you've been drinking. Or if you have smoked pot, then you are stoned, or you have other drugs that you've been using. Okay, well, these are not mental states. No, they are just simply. This is why we have drugs to sort of just numb the nervous system, tranquilizers or whatever you call it, and others are stimulants to activate the nervous system, caffeine or whatever, and so, but there's no language in our body. It's just a sense of how we experience our body, and this experience of our body is without language, period. And to the extent that we can have an understanding of our own physiology with our language, it is very much, of course, a matter of whether our language is adjusted to our physiological experience. So let's say, for instance, I'm feeling tired. Now, if I'm feeling tired and I talk with myself, and I talk with myself about, feeling upset about something, or, feeling excited about something, or, it contradicts. In that case, if I am talking about being excited or being upset about something, it contradicts the fact that I'm tired. So I can distract myself from being tired by being upset. Do you see that with my language? And people do that. People do that all the time. People distract themselves from what they're actually feeling in their body all the time. And this is how they disembody their language. So I do not disembody my language because I adjust my language to my body. And that adjustment, of course, is because I listen to my sound, and the sound of what I'm saying, it guides my speech, it guides my language, and then my perception of language, because this is also, we have this weird concept about perception, just like consciousness. There is perception, you notice something, and that noticing is supposedly something inner, you are conscious, you are aware, you're mindful. No, there's nothing inner that makes you aware, It's just all nonsense. You are aware because you use your language correctly, which means your language is used overtly, And so, if you do that, then everything begins to fit into place. But as long as you do not do that, as long as you adhere to this imaginary inner language stuff, you cannot adjust your language. You are out of focus. You are not, and then you can say, oh, you're not aware, you're not conscious. No, it has nothing to do with that. You are using your language incorrectly when you do not listen to yourself while you speak. Now, okay. So on this walk, I have now explained to you that the correct way of using your language is of course to use your language overtly and to know that covert language doesn't exist. And so you need to tell yourself so that you begin to respond to your own ability to not only address that, but to let yourself know, because you have been conditioned by disembodied language, and you've been reinforced for your disembodied language for not listening to yourself, and you have been reinforced also for your belief in your inner language, just like you've been reinforced for your belief in any other false belief, you know. Yeah, I don't believe in anything. I don't even believe in myself. I don't need to believe in myself. I am myself. So being yourself is not a belief. Yeah. All right. Well, and the things that you say, yeah, are also not a belief. These words, yeah, they are all on record. They are all recorded. Yeah, these words are real. And these words have real consequences. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I'm experiencing these consequences every day in my life. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll leave it here for now. All right.